this podcast, it's always gets me nervous as fuck. Like, yeah,
For
I mean,
sure.
it's okay. It's natural.
Being nervous is good. I've learned that, like, when you're nervous, it's just like your body and your mind, like, preparing yourself to be more alert, to be
Be
better.
ready for action. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Like,
true.
I always skate really good when I'm like nervous beforehand.
Yeah. I understand. But there is something that if I'm overthinking before, like, especially in the streets, like if I'm overthinking before I'm getting to, I want a certain clip, even in the park, if I want to get like an Instagram clip exactly how I want, and I'm nervous and I'm thinking about it and overthinking about it, and it just doesn't flow at the moment. And a lot of times I feel like probably the best clips I ever got was just out of the blue, like not even as low, like even complaining the whole day, like, I'm not gonna skate today, I'm so fucked, my leg is this, my body is that, and then best clips, you know. So,
and then it just happens. It's more spontaneous.
Yeah.
You're not like thinking about it too much. I hear you. Yeah. It's like when your expectations are too high, like when you wake up in the morning, like, oh, today's going to be a big day, I'm going to kill it. Then it's like,
today's the day.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't work out as good. But then when you're just chilling and like, yeah, when you're not thinking about it too much and it just happens, yeah, that's the best. So congratulations. I have to congratulate you. 8 years. 8 years, no alcohol.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, I mean, it was 7 years for me.
All right. The same date? Is it the 1st of January?
Yeah, it was New Year's. So I'm assuming for you it was like a New Year's resolution type thing.
I mean, yeah, like not the way to put it. No, I was just like, I was clean before that for 3.5 years, and I had like how do you call it, like a relapse, it's called, right?
Yeah.
You have to correct me because my English is okay, but it's not top notch, right? Okay. So, but it was a short and quick one. I was drinking alcohol. Before that, I was also using drugs. I was drinking alcohol and I really didn't enjoy it. I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And then the last time I drank was like in the New Year's Eve, and I threw up, and it was bad. And I was like, you know what? Whatever it is going with my life right now. Going back to drinking or doing drugs is definitely not my solution. So I'm just gonna stop that and figure out because I was obviously in a bad period. You don't just go and break a 3.5 years cleaning time for nothing, right?
Right.
But I quickly understood that this was not my solution, and I went back to being clean, even though I didn't figure out my shit yet. But I was just, I need to be clean first and then see what's going on.
For sure.
And yeah, and 8 years since then. So yeah.
That's amazing. So what kind of drugs were you doing? You say I was drinking and doing drugs.
Oh, good question.
All kinds of drugs? What are we talking?
Like everything. In the timeline of the time that I used drugs, and I didn't skate at that time, right? So it's like, it's a good couple of years like of heavy using, no matter what it is, but it was constantly since like 14-15 until like 2021. Hard to say exactly, but that was like my constant abusing alcohol and drugs. at first it was weed and drinking, and at some point it was a lot of ecstasy. I really liked ecstasy. And then I kind of lost my mind actually for a good period of time with the ecstasy and the smoking. So I couldn't do that anymore. Like I had a really terrible experience, like a really bad trip, even though I didn't take LSD, but I had a really bad trip. Like I was about to die, right?
Whoa.
And then I had to stop with it. But I didn't go to recovery, or I didn't take care of my shit or anything like that, right? So I just looked for alternatives that are not, that I told myself that I need stuff that are not psychedelic, right? That are not psychoactive, kind of like on the brain. This is what I told myself at the time, right?
Yeah.
Fully in denial. And yeah, it's a funny story. Like eventually I even used heroin for some time. Yeah, there was that period. And it's funny because it's almost like I stumbled into it. Like it's almost like I how was it like I was selling drugs, right? For at that time I was like selling like hash and LSD and stuff like this, but I was not using them. I was only selling them.
Yeah.
And I remember I wanted to sniff cocaine, and I already did that just once or twice before, and I bought some cocaine. Well, at least I thought I bought some cocaine, but I actually bought crack, right? So the guy was asking me, do you want like a cooked one? This is how they say it here. They say, you want it cooked or not? And I was like, whatever, I want it cooked. Sounds like the best cocaine, right? and it's almost funny because you could die if you sniff that shit, right? You should not sniff it, you should smoke it. And I had it on me for like half an hour, and then this random dude, like, such a funny story, man. This random dude comes to me. I don't know this guy, right? And he tells me like, are you Bobby? And imagine like it's not the same Bobby that you're thinking about, right? I'm not skating, I'm not doing any of this stuff, right? I'm just a small time drug dealer, whatever. And he comes to me like, I heard you got stuff. And I was like, yeah, what you want, you know? And he said, he was like straight to it. He was like, I don't give a fuck. I want whatever you got. If it's hash, if it's ecstasy, if it's trips, if it's heroin, whatever you got. And I was like, okay, I was testing him a little bit to see what he's about. And then I told him like, okay, listen, I got some cocaine. You can put in the money. We split half. I bought it for 500 shekels, and let's sniff it together. And he's like, all right, let's go. And I pulled it out, and apparently he was already experienced. He was already doing heroin and crack all the time. And he was like, bro, you weren't about to sniff that shit. I was like, yeah, why not? He was like, do you even know what it is? I'm like, cocaine. He's like, no, man, it's crack. If you sniff it, you can die.
Whoa.
And I was like, okay, so what do we do with it? And he was like, we smoke it. So we bought the funny, why the fuck are we talking about it? But whatever.
This is
Good
great.
story. I'm so far away from that shit, but it's still a great story. So we bought the thing you put in the bong, like the fuck, I don't know, like the glass you used to smoke. You know, you have the
And the
bottle and you put
filter
a
and
glass.
yeah.
And then you need to put like this some kind of metal thing that is used to clean dishes. And he put that shit inside, and you put the crack on top of it, and then you just smoke it.
Whoa.
And I smoked with him, and I was like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. It was the craziest shit I ever felt. And right at that day, I was like, okay, let's get some more. You know, it was over. And the thing is with crack, it's really the devil drug. You get high for even in the first times, you get high for 15 minutes. Like you have one minute of a strong high, and then a maximum of 15 minutes, and then it just fades away like, and you feel the need to have more. Like you would kill for it straight from the first time. It's not like the other drugs when you have that little bit of like, oh, I took once or twice, and then you find yourself take more. It's like straight to it. You're ready to do whatever it takes.
Whoa.
And we bought some more, and then it was done, and I was really feeling like I want more. It was already 6 o'clock in the morning or something, and he was like, I asked him like, what do we do now? Like, I need more. And he was like, we have no money already, it's expensive shit,
Jeez.
And he said like, you could smoke some hash to cool it down, and I'm not smoking at that point, and there was no way, like I couldn't smoke at all. Like I had the worst experience. And then he tells me, oh, you can do some heroin. And I was like, okay. I gave it up at that time because I wasn't ready kind of for that heroin shit. And I went to sleep. I had the worst sleep. I was kicking middle. I was suffering. Like I needed more, like nothing I ever felt before,
Ooh.
After everything you smoke, you sniff, you take a pill, you have a urge for more. But this one was kind of, wow, it was fucked up shit. The next day, obviously, like a good addict, I say, hey, let's get some more. We go, we get some more. Mind you, I don't even fucking know the guy. Like at that point, I don't even know if I know his name yet. You know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
Jeez.
So we do the same thing. We smoke, and at the end, same question, right? 6 o'clock in the morning. I was like, what am I doing now? He was like, heroin, bro. This is the only way to go down. I was like, okay, I'm not going and feeling the same feelings again. Like, give me that shit.
Ooh.
And yeah, so, and I did that. It was weird. It's wow, first time doing that shit was crazy, weird feeling. You sleep awake, you don't know what the fuck is going on. And yeah, and then there was a couple of months, maybe close to a year, that I was like kind of smoking crack, doing heroin, drinking alcohol, and then I got to prison, and everything changed after that because it was a really bad experience for me. Like I got obviously caught for selling the drugs. They didn't catch me with any drugs. They already had the case, right? So they had everything they needed. Just lock me in. Like, doesn't matter what I have to say or not. And yeah, and I guess I can say that prison changed. Prison was like a shock for me because.
How long were you in prison?
I was sentenced for 1 year and 3 months, right? And I did a little bit less because I was on good behavior. But that first thing is 1 year and 3 months. And it was a fucked up experience. Like, when you're like, mind you, I'm just 19 years old at that time, 18, 19. Like I got locked up when I was 19. So I guess the things before and after was 18, 19. And there was like, there is being a small time punk in your hood, doing some bad shit, sometimes meeting up more crazy people, sometimes just people that are not just crazy, they're just addicts or whatever, and then you get to prison and you see the real deal. It's some ugly faces, it's shit's happening there. You're like, okay, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but I got nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Like, if there was ever something in me that thought that I'm about this life, prison changed it. It was like, these guys are about this life, I'm about something else, but definitely not this life. I got some issues, whatever, but not this shit.
Yeah.
And I've seen some stuff there that made me kind of, I was like, whoa, no fucking way,
Yeah.
And
you don't want that to be you.
No. And people got fucked over nothing, over a word, over a fucking smile. You know what I mean? And I had nothing to do with that. Like, I felt it. I felt it like I don't belong here, right?
Yeah.
And I played the game. I went around the drips. I was dancing around, not fucking with anybody. Sometimes people try to kind of, you know, like telling me like, oh, you're doing this. Like I was using the phone, and then you see someone who's coming to you and he doesn't want to ask you like, hey, drop the phone in 5 minutes because I need to make a call or something. No, he was like, you're too much on the phone. Fuck you, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, whatever, I need to go. Not fucking with. Now, mind you, this guy is sitting for fucking international drug trafficking, like half Pablo Escobar kind of shit. I'm not fucking with you. Fuck it. I drop the phone. I give him the phone. I go back to the room. So I did that for as long as I could. I went out. I got good behavior. And then I was like, then I got out. But mind you, I still at that point, I'm not in recovery. I don't understand. I have a problem really like deeply, like that I need help or whatever. I'm still in my own brain, in my own toxic thoughts, in my own toxic relationship with myself, right?
Yeah.
And I'm close to any opinions or whatever. I know everything, you know, I guess you know everything about it. And then I was I was going to like a treatment in my parole officer, and she got me into these 12-step groups. And this was the first time I kind of realized, because I was really not willing to admit that I have a drug problem, because even when I was in prison, I didn't use so many drugs. So I was kind of in some kind of denial that, okay, I was in prison now for 1 year and I almost didn't use any drugs. So I'm probably okay. This is not my problem, which is true. Afterwards, you understand that. But this guy was talking there in this group, and he said like, he said something about losing control over our lives. And this is something that I really felt like. I just came out of prison. I'm fucking 20 years old. I don't know what the fuck to do with my life, you know, like I got out of prison and I felt so depressed, and I felt like I had better times in prison than I have outside, which is crazy because I hated that place, right? And it touched me. This was the first time I managed to kind of open up and say like, okay, I have a problem, I need help. And I did it not by saying that, I did it by admitting that I'm drinking alcohol at that place. Because at that place, they said you have to be clean from everything if you want to stay outside of prison. Now, remember, I have 6 months on parole. If they know I'm drinking, they're sending me back in for 6 more months. It's not a fucking day or two, you know what I mean? It's fucking 6 months. But I went there, and I went to the parole officer and I told her, listen, I'm drinking. I don't know what to do. I need help. Do whatever you want with it. And she didn't like put me back in prison. She was like, okay, from now you're clean and you're gonna get treatment and you're gonna go to the groups and you're gonna do whatever we tell you. And I was like, I'm open. You know, that was the first time I was open to get some kind of help. And then the journey began with skating too, actually. Like after 2 months of being clean, I was like, okay, what do I love to do? Who am I? Or like, what's going on? I'm not a gangster anymore. I'm trying a different route in my life. I'm clean. I don't do drugs. I need to step away from my old friends. Who am I? And the first,
because you had been skating in your younger years, right? Before all this?
Yes, yeah. I was skating, like, I didn't really understand skating, right? Yeah. I was really I was good at skating in comparison to other kids or whatever I could see at the time, right? I was not that good, but in that area, I was considered like a kid with a lot of potential, but I was really in the shallow waters of understanding what blading is, right? Like,
Right.
if I would see Brosko skates at that time, I would think that I don't know what the fuck is he doing, and I would rather see someone do a backflip 720 or something, right? That was my mindset. I was really at the shallow waters, but I was doing it a lot, and I was even like, the skate park was like half an hour drive. Half an hour drive in Israel, it's you can cross 5-6 cities in half an hour's drive, right? It's not the same size as you could imagine. So the skate park is in a different city, and in my city where I grew up, in my hood, I was known to be Bobi who skates. So you can imagine, like, I am really connected to it. I'm known to be the kid on rollerblades who's doing good tricks, flips, whatever.
And how old are we talking? Like, how old were you?
Like 8 to 14 was the years I was more like consistently skating. 7 maybe. I don't know exactly the time I got my first skate, but 8, 7.
Wow,
something like
pretty
this.
young.
Yeah. I had a K2, the fatty, I think, the black and yellow K2.
Yeah.
They were like 3 sizes bigger. Yeah, it wasn't. We put like the same thing that you put out of the skate now. When you have a new skate, you put out the paper inside. So we put the paper back inside. So
Stuff it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any footage of these years, like of you skating as a young
Very
kid?
little.
Very little. Yeah, you didn't film much. It was just about skating.
We didn't really understand it. It was just skating. I have some photos.
So then what made you kind of stop skating at that time?
I kind of lost interest. Like it depends how you ask. How do you want me to answer this? From the deep understanding of today, or from the more shallow answer, which is like, I went into drugs and I dropped skating. Like, from the deep understanding, I realized that I was just going downhill, and everything anything is good, I had to put aside. And slowly everything that was good in my life, I put aside. If it was I had good friends. I didn't have only gangster friends, right? In right. Every hood, don't matter how rough is the hood, you can find a really nice people, right?
For sure.
And I was friends. The people who was skating, they were not hood rats. Like, most of them, they were good. Like, not to say that hood rats are necessarily bad people, but they were from a good neighborhoods. They were good kids, like, generally speaking. And yeah, I was moving everybody aside and everything aside. And at some point, skating came too. I went to skate slowly. I didn't want to do it as much. I didn't feel it. I didn't understand why I'm doing it. Mind you, I'm also like, I'm good at it, but I'm really in the shallow waters. I didn't get deep enough to understand what I'm doing. Right. I was just doing it.
Yeah.
And the more I was stepping deeper into addiction, the more I pushed away anything that was keeping me kind of in a good place, which I think maybe there is a good side to it, that my skating experience was never related with my addiction.
Right.
So if some people say that skating is like an addiction for them, or you see that some people take skating to bad places, you know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Some people are like overthinking it, overdoing it, like almost like they lost their mind a little bit when they're doing it. So for me, I had this with other stuff, and skating was not there. And coming back to skating was always feeling like coming back to a positive thing, to a good thing that kept me and my mind more healthy and my body more healthy, kind of thing, right?
Right, that makes sense.
And
so when
and
you
yeah,
so when you started skating again after all the addiction and prison and everything, what was that like when you first started
oh,
skating again?
oh. Like my first session, was like it was 1 hour in the vert ramp. There was like a mini vert ramp. It wasn't a vert. Probably 1 hour, probably smoked like 10 cigarettes, and I was dead for the whole week afterwards. Like I was in the worst shape you can imagine for 20 years old. Like
Yeah.
my shape was so bad. I can only understand now how bad it was. When I
Right.
see 20 years old now, oh my God. Like couldn't I couldn't move for a week later. It was wild.
Wow.
It was wild. Yeah. And all I could do is like a backflip, a fakey misty flip, and maybe like a backside and a soul grinder. Probably not even a soul grind.
But your first session back, you were doing backflips on the vert.
Because that's what I did before, right?
Yeah.
You have to like slowly recover what you can and cannot do. And this is what I did before. It was pretty much flips and spins and a little bit of grinding. Yeah. A lot of transfer. I was skating transition, like purely no grind. I probably got 1 or 2 bad bails when I was younger from trying to skate rails or whatever, because I didn't really understand rail skating. And I was like, okay, that's not for me.
Right.
I took a bad shinner once. I took one to the side where you lose your air on the rail.
Yeah.
And I think this was the kind of experience that kind of made me not want to do any rail skating or not so many grinds in general. So yeah, I was not doing that, but very quickly I realized that this is what people do now. Like it's 2011.
Yeah.
We're talking 2011. Yeah, I think so. So it's the Aragon peak, and one of my good friends, Yotam, he was a real Aragon like admirer. How do you say?
Yeah.
Like a fan. Yeah. So he showed me a lot of razor stuff back then, and sure, I saw some flips, but I realized this is not what we're doing now. And because in the 90s, when I was skating, is late 90s, early 2000s, we didn't have so much videos or so much to watch. So we were just watching each other and occasionally going somewhere on a competition or something in Europe and see what other people do. But it wasn't all connected like today. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I didn't know what we were doing. And he kind of showed me the way, like, okay, this is what we're doing now. And I started practicing because I really liked it. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was hard comeback. It wasn't like it wasn't like a John Bolino comeback when he
Right.
was at the top of the game and he comes back. I was nothing and a nobody, and
so it took
I
you a lot
didn't
of
know.
time to get comfortable again skating.
And yeah, and also took me a lot of time to actually do tricks that make sense in that era.
Yeah.
Like, like, do you know some of the XCCV guys? Do you aware like of their names? Some of them, like Daniel or Omri.
No. So these are like the Israel crew?
Yes, like this is the strong crew today, right?
Yeah.
The crews always change. There's Anton, there's Daniel, there's Omri, there's Yair, who's not so much skating right now, but hopefully will make a little comeback. There's Max.
You still skate with these guys?
All the time.
Yeah.
They're my homies.
Yeah.
So they opened a new skate park in my hometown, a concrete one. It was in these years they started popping skate parks in every city. Now we have a skate park almost in every city, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes drive, you go to a whole different skate park, and then another one and another one. Each way you pick, in 15 minutes, you will have a different skate park. So
nice.
They were just starting to pop up at the time. And when Omri came and Daniel came and Anton came, and I saw what these guys were doing, and I tried to adapt. Like I was a little bit local. Like I didn't care to fall so much. I was kind of crazy. I was throwing stuff that I had no business doing. You know what I mean? Like this kind of is the good side about being like 20 years old.
Yeah. Reckless.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I had to learn everything. Like I was for me, I was far from their level or anybody's level at that point, right?
Yeah.
Like and I think it still shows till today in my skating that I have weak sides. You know, there's stuff, if you look carefully at my skating, there's stuff that you will see that I don't do because I just didn't have the years and the time to give a real good practice, and I was in the shallow waters. So like
that's really funny that you say that, because something about your skating is it's very, very diverse. Like you do technical grinds, you do like good park skating, you do big gaps, you do cess slides, you do like toe rolls. You seem to have a very wide array of skills. So it's funny that you say that you have a lot of weaknesses. You're probably more aware of those than other people. So like, what are your weaknesses in skating?
For one, handrail skating as is. I could not do 10% of my trick vocab on a handrail that I can do on a quarter pipe or even on the box. So like I could still skate probably any rail and I can throw some stuff there. And it's like when it comes to handrail skating, I become way more basic. You understand?
Yeah.
And I can surprise myself and I can surprise other guys because they feel like my friends always tell me, like, you can do it. You have the movement. You just don't have the experience. Whatever it is you want to do. And sometimes it really happens that way. But most of the time, I don't feel as comfortable and as the freedom to just let's say
yourself. Yeah.
Okay, an example. I would not just come and throw a true macchio on a down rail out of nowhere, right? And it's a trick that I got. Or, I don't know, like a full cab true porn. It's a trick that if you take me to a little down ledge or a play rail or a quarter pipe, I do it first try, no warm up, right?
Yeah.
You take me to the down rail, if I will ever do this trick, that will be like a, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even though, like I said, maybe my friends wouldn't be that surprised because they feel like, they always tell me that my barrier is more of the fear and not experienced enough rather than not knowing how to do these tricks. You just have to like take it to the next step on rail. But I'm fucking 31 and I don't want to smash my brain nowhere, and I'm going slow. You know what I mean? I'm trying to feel if I'm comfortable, I'm doing it.
Right.
If I'm not, chill, you know? And
totally. It's important to listen to that. I mean, like, it's not worth breaking yourself, you know, trying stuff. It's good to, you know, play in your comfort zone and slowly expand, and you'll develop that sense of like, am I capable of doing this? You know, you don't want to be
Yes.
that reckless kid, because you know
No.
your body is fragile. You don't want to, it's not worth breaking over one trick, you know.
Yes, and I feel it. It's longer recovery time,
Yeah.
and there is something good about this as well, because like you said, that I'm versatile in a way that I do gaps, and because when we went street filming all the time, I was looking to do other stuff, because
Yeah.
I couldn't put the best me on a typical down rail, like a 15 stairs down rail. I wouldn't, I would expect myself to maybe do like a full value top acid on it, but I felt not comfortable. And the next thing I know, like, I was looking for stuff that would be as hard or as appreciated, but are just not that, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And like, I'm practicing a lot of rail skating today, and the last 2 years, maybe 3 years even, I'm slowly developing like a confident and understanding, because I want it for me. Like, I
Right.
got my I I I achieved what I desired from a career perspective, right? I have 2 pro skates.
Yeah.
I have a name for myself. I'm happy with it. I didn't even expect any of it to happen. If you asked me 5 years ago, I would probably say, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, I'm just skating." And everything happened in a very positive way for me from a career perspective. And so anything I do now is literally for me, like,
That's a
I'm
good place to be.
yeah, when I'm practicing something, or when I want to smash something on a down rail, is because I want to do it, because I want to do it, because
Right.
I didn't have enough of it, because I did the fucking Cess Royale fucking 5 years in a row. I did it on anything. I did it over, I have this clip, I do it over a ramp. It's like 5 meters,
Mhm.
sassing all the way down. Like, I controlled it to a place where I'm like, okay, I know I'm good at it. I can come back to it. I know I'm
Yeah.
good at quarter pipe skating, at spin to wins. If it's spin to win in a quarter pipe, if it's spin to win to a box or whatever, I know I'm good at it. Like, so I put these things aside a little bit, and I was looking for, develop my skill in a different sense. And that's what I'm doing now. Actually,
Nice.
sometimes I'm not even filming it. It's
Yeah.
just me and me.
Yeah. That keeps skating interesting for sure, is like just focusing on things you're not good at. It
Yes.
yeah, it's that beginner's mindset, and like, yeah, it makes skating fun and
Yeah.
interesting. You get
100.
that feeling that you got when you were just starting out, like even just learning something that people might not be super impressed by, but it's something that it's a weakness of
Sure.
yours. So you get that intrinsic feeling of accomplishment just from something simple.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I know some, and I can also, it's funny because sometimes I can sense that, like, occasionally I put a clip out that I feel very good about, and it doesn't get as much engagement, or like, and
Yep.
I get the feeling that it's probably in the very classic skating style. It's probably not that hard, and this is why it doesn't get as much engagement. But
Right.
I'm like, I'm thrilled about it.
Yeah, you get
So
the satisfaction from it. That's why, like, yeah, it's important not to like focus too much on the feedback that you get, and focus
yeah,
more on that feeling that you get, because it might be
definitely,
something really simple that you do that you're stoked on because it's outside of your regular skill set, but
definitely.
other people aren't going to appreciate it in the same way, because they don't know that it took a lot of effort for you
Yeah,
to do it, you know.
like a true fishy.
Yeah. Or like something that's maybe switch, or like, whatever. It can be something simple that you do.
Definitely.
But that's really interesting, that and it's something that I think about, is that like people that aren't as good at maybe traditional kind of like hammer skating or like rail skating, they need to look for more creative ways to, you know,
Yes.
get a clip that's impressive or interesting. It's almost a good thing because it forces you to like look for, you're not just going to throw something super tech on a rail. You're going to look off to the distance like, oh, look at this little bank to a wall and skate things that other people might not skate. And that's even more interesting in terms of like filming, like when you watch an edit, and you know, it can be almost boring to watch someone just kill a handrail over and over and over. But
Yes.
if you don't have that skill, then you're going to diversify and look for more interesting terrain that other people aren't skating. And that's almost, that's probably a reason why you've been so successful, is because you do skate, you know, unorthodox kind of objects and weird terrain. And it comes off a lot more diverse because you're not
Yeah.
just skating handrails. I mean, there are handrails in there, and
Occasionally, yeah.
yeah, I appreciate the diversity of your skating. It's really dope.
Thank you. Thank you
So
very much.
yeah, you said you've had 2 pro skates. You've got the beautiful domestic punk right behind you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really interesting design. Were you involved with like the choices in terms of the colors?
Of
And yeah, yeah.
course.
So tell me about like your decisions with the design of the domestic punk. It's a really interesting skate.
Yeah. Mm. Um, First thing I remember is that I had this lilac jeans, short jeans, that I was not skating in so often, but I was walking with. And I sent like I had all kinds of different ideas, and at some point I sent my team manager, because we work on it together with her. I sent her the picture of the pants, and she was like, you know what, I got exactly that color. And she sent me back like a plastic in a lilac color. And so that was the first step, because it's like the most important one is like, what color is the boot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we started testing with this lilac idea. One of the first thing we came about is like black parts, black sole plate, black parts, black liner, lilac skate, which would have been probably a good choice to go with. A pretty boring one, but still nobody did a lilac, as far as I can remember. I maybe, you know, when you say nobody did, somebody did, you know.
I can't
So,
remember a lilac skate, but you're
but
right.
it
It's
was,
yeah.
yeah, it wasn't like something that we could come up with, oh yeah, this guy did that or whatever. So we were happy already about that, but we had to kind of keep developing it. The idea, like, not only about the skate, or my concept of skating in general, like what I try to do when I produce skating in general, I want to make it fashionable. I want it to be like up to today's standards. I'm looking around at skateboarding, I'm looking around at fashion, looking around at the hip hop industry and what they're doing, you know, like they are always ahead of time, because there is a connection between the industry. Let's just take skateboarding, the most easy for us to understand. Skateboarding in fashion today is very connected. They are collaborating all the time.
Yeah.
So if you look at some stuff that they do, even if it looks a little bit crazy for you at the beginning, know that people who are professional are sitting behind these ideas, right? So maybe you don't like everything they do, but it's good to look around and have some idea of where are we going, you know, like even now we are back to baggy. We're not the baggy that we were, but we're back to baggy. And I already knew it some time back, and it's not because I'm a genius or anything. I just looked at some skateboarding guys, and I've seen that for 1 year long, these motherfuckers are going more baggy, more baggy, more baggy. And I know they are connected with fashion, right? It's not even, sometimes it's not even the skateboarder who brought it. Sometimes it's someone who is more about fashion and he brought it, and then it goes down the wave, right? So I don't know the process of things. I'm just saying that it's also a possibility. And so yeah, if you pay close attention to other industries, and especially music and other extreme sports, then you can kind of guess where we're going. Music, fashion, and extreme sports. Like I would say this is the main three things that I'm looking at constantly to aspire inspiration, right? Can I say that? Aspire, well, yeah. Aspire
to, yeah, it's connected.
No, yeah, okay, whatever.
Aspire,
but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm taking inspiration from it.
Right. So along the lines of inspiration, within skating, do you watch other people skating?
Of course.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Who? Of course. Who do you enjoy watching in skating? Who do you enjoy watch? Whose skating do you enjoy watching?
I would say the top one is Brosco, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's no doubt about this. But I would even say even more than that. I think I get the most inspiration from my friends, right?
Yeah.
In the sessions.
Yeah.
So in real time, like I don't need them to put a part out, even though I'm involved in all the parts. I'm probably filming most of it, or at least half of it, me together with Omri. We are both the guys behind the lens normally. So I know what's happening, but just the most inspiring for me is skating with them and seeing them figuring things out.
Yeah, yeah.
Every time, again and again, in their own, because they have we all have very different skill sets, and watching them figuring things out is for me the biggest inspiration of all. But in terms of like style or tricks or ideas, I would say Brosco. I would say I really enjoy John Bolino since he came back, but I also really enjoy all John Bolino from the sense of typical Hummer skating when I'm about that sometimes too, you know, like maybe not at that level, but sometimes I feel like I want to drop big shit.
It's awesome to have Bolino back.
Amazing. Yeah. Big inspiration. I would say that let's put it this way. One of my favorite videos is Lost Tapes, and the whole Haitian Mag crew. Adam, I would probably kill his last name if I try, but barely, right? Adam.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine.
All right, but he did some amazing stuff. He had this super fluid, easy style, and he was doing bangers as well.
Yeah,
like the whole punk rock Asian style. I really dig it. It's one of my favorite periods to watch. Actually, I go back and watch it a lot. I would say Nikla Bar is not skating anymore, but he was one, if not my biggest inspirations in terms of changing. He kind of put the light bulb, you know what I'm saying? Like the idea that it can be done differently, because he was the first one that I thought brought something totally different into the table. I'm talking KCMO time. And
Definitely,
this was
yeah.
my biggest inspiration in terms of like it can be done differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just generally his style, whatever he brought at that time, I really liked it. I really felt it. I felt like I am how do you say it? You feel related to it, right? And I was
Totally.
not that skater. I was totally spin to winning, whatever. I was practicing. I was mastering the fakie sevens and on the quarter pipes, 540s on the quarter pipes, and I was more inspired by Aragon and Julian Kudut at my early like comeback days, which are amazing skaters, like no doubt. But just watching Nick at that time, I felt like, okay, I understand. You know, I was looking at it, and the first time I looked at it, I was like, nah. And then I looked at it again, and I was like, And then I looked at it again, and then I was like, okay, I get it. I get it. This is good. I want some of this, you know?
Yeah, it was very interesting the way he could do pretty basic things, but he would add like little subtle details to it that just made it so sick. And it wasn't, you compare it to Aragon or Julian Cadeau, where they would do like a very, undeniable kind of hammer, like a fakie seven or big spin to a grind.
Fucking
Um,
fake is 7 to a grind.
right. But then
Disaster.
Nick would do like a very simple like Royale, but just add some little tweak to it that just made it stand out. And
Yes.
that was an interesting shift where it was like, okay, you don't have to do like the world like a huge hammer. You can do something that's very simple, but add a little element to it that just makes it memorable. And it just
100%.
that kind of shit just like changed the whole landscape of rollerblading because people seem to be more about those subtle things now.
Yeah, it was a very refreshing view on blading. Um, it's just yeah, people did what he did before this way or another,
Yeah.
but this was the first time he caught me, and I think a lot of others as well. So
For sure.
I think it inspired a lot of people in the greater scale. It inspired everybody, and I think he was also inspired by other stuff before him. But I think this is something that kind of caught people like me, caught people. I don't know. I think it even inspired Brosco in a way, right?
For
Not
sure.
long
Oh,
after,
big time.
Brosco was kind of shifting his own style as well, and I think.
You can really see it in Brosco skating.
Oh yeah.
Like a lot of his skating now is a lot more simplistic, but just adding those little elements.
Yes. Now Brosco is even in the next step. Like this is like the total new school. Like it's people took it, me and other people, everybody took it to his own place, and just then it gave more seeds and more seeds and more ideas and more brainstorming of skating, and it just took off. But for me personally, it started there, even though afterwards I realized even someone like you and Joey already did stuff that resembled that kind of skating, but maybe I didn't know. Like some people resemble a lot of stuff that I do to mushroom blading skating, and they are right. I just didn't know they are right until afterwards. Like after I was skating that style, I looked back at some of you guys' videos, and I was like, damn, they were already doing all of this shit. But I just didn't know. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think
So
yeah, we did some of it, and hopefully it influenced people like Nick Labar who did it better, and then
exactly.
and then people were able to really grab onto what they were doing because they were a lot better at it.
He took it to a place where it's like I think he is cool. You know what I mean? I think he is cool. You know what I'm saying? And I think it was his character just taking this aspect of skating, but he brought his character, and also being influenced by skateboarding made it a whole different game, and it caught a lot of people.
Totally.
Including me.
It's like he was able to sell the idea.
Yeah.
With his character and his style. That's the thing, is like someone can have a great idea, but they're not selling it properly. They're not like, the masses aren't going to appreciate it. Or like if the really, you know, the dudes with the magnifying glass, like they'll be able to spot it and be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. But it takes someone with the style and the skill to really like execute an idea to a point where everyone is like, whoa, like I need to do that trick, you know, I need to learn that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think after Nick there was other people. I think I'm included in these people who took it and kind of played with it, changed it, did whatever they could with it, took it to their own place and put it back out even to a greater audience, right? Like I would my best guess is that a lot of people today don't really know who is Nick Labar actually. For one, because he's not skating, but because their inspirations are already different. So I could even say if you're probably 20 years old and younger, probably don't know, right? Unless you get schooled very good. So because it seems like yesterday, but it's already like KCMO is like 7 years ago, right? Or something like this, that it came out, 2014.
I'm not sure, but yeah, that sounds about right.
I think 2014, so that's close to 8 years ago, right? We're going to we are at 2022.
Yeah.
So I guess my best guess, if you're 20, 22, even 23 years old and under, you don't even know who this guy is, which is funny when you think about it. And you probably skate like him too.
Yeah, and you don't even know why. So you're what? Almost 30?
I'm 31.
31. Okay.
Yeah. I'm an old dog already.
How do you feel? How does your body feel?
Well, sometimes I have you can catch me on a day when I feel really like I'm almost done.
Yeah.
But usually I feel very good, very young, very strong, and very much in control of my skating. I'm very sharp. You know, my skating, I feel very sharp. I do things fast, simple, and you know, like if you would ask me, maybe I think I'm the best that I was ever. You know what I mean? From a control and sharpness perspective, maybe I'm not like, I don't want to suicide anymore, but
not as reckless,
Yeah, but I could do stuff as reckless, just in a different approach.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, a more calculated approach.
Yes.
So do you do anything outside of skating? You swim or you jump rope or anything like that?
I right now not anymore, but I used to play some football, but like European football, like soccer.
Yeah.
But I stopped because it was very easy to be injured in the ankle area.
Oh yeah.
Even though I really like it. And you know, I do some stretching, I do some yoga.
Yeah.
I do a lot of skating, you know, like sometimes if it's a good weather, I can go up to 5 times a week, you know.
Nice.
And I go to the massage. I take cold showers. I take hot showers. I mix them.
Yeah.
You know, I drink shakes. I try to eat as healthy as possible. Like I'm not I'm not the greatest at it, but I'm pretty good. Like I'm eating pretty healthy. Sometimes I have some cheat days for sure. And sometimes I do like a typical workout, home workout, but I definitely feel like I need some more. Even when I say it now, I need some more rollerblading based workout. I need to find stuff that will probably strengthen my knees and around my knees and stuff like this. I need to look into it. But from the little mix of information that I gathered about what is healthy for me and what I need to do from people like Niels, you know what I'm saying, and other people on the internet, I try to take as much as I could for myself and take it to my lifestyle. And it feels great. Like it keeps me going, honestly.
Yeah, I think that becomes really important as you get older, is to constantly be looking for ways to optimize your strength and your mobility, things that like you can kind of take for granted in your 20s, but if you're not on top of it, it kind of starts to fade as you hit 40. But Nils seems really knowledgeable in, you know, a lot of you know, stretching and working out, and he's into cold exposure. I've seen the pictures of him in his lake. You've obviously hung out with Nils quite a bit, right? Like filming what was the video? Game. Yeah, that was sick.
Thank you.
Have you've spent a lot of time with Nils?
Yeah, like as much as possible from being like total different places, but like I spent quite some time with him. We speak quite a lot. Probably every week or every second week we make a phone call, we talk, we brainstorm, we talk about what we're gonna do next, who, why, how. He's a really good friend, and I took a lot of inspiration from being around him. For one, also for skating, like Nils is a top skater, right?
Yeah.
So like I would say like it's a whole different conversation, but I would say there's like, it's a good thing, but there's like a tier 1, tier 2 kind of pro skaters and legendary status, right? You know what I'm saying? Which is a good thing, because before that there was not really a tier 2 pro skater. It wasn't as acceptable, but now it's like, okay. And Nils is definitely like a top skater on the legendary status for me. I've seen him do stuff like first, second try. I wouldn't, this is not a spot for me. Like I don't consider it a spot. Let alone throw a fish brain on it. The only warm-up he did was cycling, being on his back and cycling in the air. Put his skates on, go up, go down, topsailing, a drop ledge, 4 meters drop. Sketchy. You know, I watched it with my own eyes, and I was like, what the fuck does he have that I don't? You know what I mean? And I realized that aside from him being just a better skater than I am, which is totally fine, and he has more experience. He was doing crazy shit when he was 12 years old. Crazy shit that we consider crazy today, you know, he was doing when he was 12. So put that aside, because this I could not change time. I could not reverse time, right? But looking at his lifestyle, and that he wakes up early and that he feels good, and just, you know, what I could take from it, you know, because like I said, reversing back time and practicing handrail skating when I was 12 is not possible anymore. So and he was already fish braining down ledges back then. So it makes sense to him to do it today. But definitely, as far as his lifestyle goes and his mentality, is something that I took a lot of inspiration, and it took me time to build it up for myself, because it's not easy, or it's probably is simple, but we're complicated creatures. So, you know, it wasn't easy to let go of a lot of stuff, but I felt like I needed it. And I feel the difference today. The last year, I feel a lot of difference in my overall feeling, also in my mindset, like also in my relationship with myself in my own mind.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not as complicated right now. It's more simple. There's days and there's days, right? I'm not, like you can imagine, I'm not the most simple guy, right?
Right.
But definitely doing this uh, physical activities that kind of signals my brain that I'm taking care of me by actions, not by talkings, by
Right.
actions, right? So if you eat healthy, and you give up that nasty, I don't know, super fried whatever it is, and you choose to eat something healthier today and tomorrow and for some time, and you choose to do a cold shower even though it's hotter than a hot shower, and if you choose to do stretching without saying anything to yourself, you're signaling yourself that you're taking care of yourself and that you're loving yourself in a way, right?
Right.
And it comes back around. So it's not like, I always thought it's the other way around. I always thought maybe someone is more simple or someone is easier for him, which could be true, depending on his life circumstances and whatever he got is in his mind, right? But I'm just saying that doing the actions brought me more quiet time with me in my brain and better sleep as well. A little bit. My sleep is not that great.
Yeah.
It's a downside. It's a downfall for me. Like it's not a downfall, but like it's something that plays a lot also with my skating, I feel like. But it did help my sleep a little bit. And yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Niels for bringing this vibe and lifestyle to me, and that I could see and take inspiration from it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's good.
Mhm.
It's interesting talking about Nils and you saying that he's a tier one. And I agree. I think he's like, he's on a crazy level. Um, but I think the interesting thing about skating is that you can be someone like yourself who obviously Nils was killing it when he was 12 years old, and he's consistently been working on his skating for all these years, and he didn't have a stint in prison. He didn't he didn't do heroin. He didn't do these things, and it really shows, in his skating. Um, but but the path that you have been on has led you to a very interesting place, and it's a different place than Nils. I don't think it's better or worse, on in an athletic standpoint. Nils might be above you, but in an artistic kind of personality aspect and the level of excitement that comes through in your edits, you have things that he doesn't have, you know.
I
Um,
agree.
and I think that's what's so awesome about skating. There's no one path. There's all these different paths, and there's different ways of expressing that. They're all admirable. They're all impressive. They're different.
I agree. I
Um,
agree a lot.
so maybe saying tier one and tier two, obviously that might be a little bit derogatory to people like you. People like, I've always said that.
I'm not
I've,
as pro as Brosco.
I know, and I agree with
It's
you.
you. We cannot put it any other way.
I
We can play
agree.
around it, and I
Yes.
totally agree with everything you said.
Yep.
But I'm not as good as Brosco. You
It's
know what I
true.
mean?
It's
100%.
true. It's true. You're not as good as Brosco, and you could say the same thing about Nils. You're not as good as Nils,
No,
but there's a level uh of dopeness that comes through in your skating that isn't in Nils skating,
I I
because of
agree.
your journey, because of your different path. um there's something in your skating that Nils doesn't have,
I
and it,
agree.
it goes both ways. It's just very cool. It's
100%.
like art. It's like someone can be incredible at painting like a photorealistic picture.
Yes.
And it's incredible. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And those people are extremely talented. But then you have someone like Jackson Pollock who can just like splash paint on a canvas and be one of the most influential painters of all time. And a lot of people will look at that and be like, oh, whatever, it's just paint, he's just splattering paint. But the person who has that skill of the photorealistic thing almost will never create something like the splatters on the paint that has such an impact, you know, and they might not be as remembered. I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. Skating is the same way.
I agree.
Where, like, you know, Nick Labar is not as good as Nils. He's not as good as Alex Broskow, but his path kind of led him to be something as interesting, maybe more interesting, but not as good. I'm a big fan of Sean C. Do you know Sean C? He did like the apples that fell far from the tree, and he might be before your time even. He doesn't skate anymore.
Not sure.
But his name was Sean Cullen. His real name was Sean Cullen. He grew up, he's skating with Shima, and he made some videos, some really weird, kind of obscure videos. But he wasn't very good at skating in like a traditional kind of way. But there was like a level of artisticness and, you know, personality that just came through in his skating. And people like that really inspire me. People that aren't that good, but they can still really entertain you and be impressive.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a very, skating. Yeah. Especially today.
Especially today. Yeah.
It's so, like, you could actually take it almost anywhere you want.
Yeah.
And there will be a crowd for it.
Yeah.
So I really like this place where we at right now, that there is a crowd for, I guess, everything or almost everything.
Yeah.
And
it's awesome to see those, what you call tier 2 skaters. It's awesome to see those people getting, you know, pro skates and getting support by brands. Like, it's really inspiring for most people. Like 95% of people will never be a tier 1 skater. They'll never be as good as Nils or Alex, ever.
Exactly.
Like, it's never gonna happen.
Exactly.
So
I agree.
It's awesome.
Yeah, like Aragon or Heffy. Like, it's impossible.
Right.
For the it's impossible.
Exactly.
The average person.
It's awesome to see people who are inspiring for the average person. Getting more shine and getting promoted by brands. I think that's really good for the sport. It's gonna
100%.
It's gonna breed a lot more people that are engaged in skating.
Yes, it opens up a lot more doors and a lot of more ideas, and you know, people like you said, like some of us tier 2 pros. Like, I'm scared to say any names so they won't get offended, right? I'm not offended. I know my position, right? I'm realistic.
Hey, I'm tier 4, so.
Sorry?
I'd say I'm tier 4.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. Tier 4, tier 3. I would put you somewhere there, yeah. But with a lot of character and a lot of ideas. Like, you guys brought a lot of ideas. You guys were like, when I say you guys, I mean you really played a lot with anything that was skating. How do I say it? Like, related. You know what I mean? Like, everything that was, okay, this is how we did it. Now we're gonna try it like this. we want to
Right.
take it this way. We're gonna. It's for me, it's amazing. It's a lot of inspiration for sure, and I think for many people, and I really am happy that also you guys are getting the recognition today or the last couple of years as well. That like if when I remember hearing like the basic people, okay, some people who were more deep in the water, maybe they were already inspired by mushroom blading, but I remember people seeing mushroom blading as like some kind of how the fuck I don't know the word in English, like a cynical, like a
Right.
cynical way to present skating. They
Yeah.
didn't understand that it's not exactly cynical way. When I just came back, I'm talking 2011, 12, 13 maybe, you know,
Yeah.
and later in the years, I think a lot of people realized it's not that. It's just brainstorming ideas, you know what I mean, and just playing with different approach and different ways to do things. And you guys were just open-minded enough, you
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
something that a lot of us, and I would include me in that, even though I am considered today maybe someone who brings something new, I was also not open-minded enough for many years to do it differently, the way you guys put it.
Right.
And it's amazing, and I'm happy that you guys get the inspiration. So yeah, definitely, like you say, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 doesn't really matter in the sense of creation.
Right.
Um
And
but
sometimes like for people like myself, it's very freeing to, you know, not be trying to be a tier 1 or a tier 2 or even a tier 3. It's just like
I agree.
you can be totally free with, you don't have to worry about your brand so much.
I
Which
agree.
is funny because it has become a very strong brand, mushroom blading, but like
It is.
we were free to just like, I guess we weren't concerned about our own brands. Like I wasn't trying to get my name on a skate or anything like that. I was doing things that were just like, just having fun. And so there's power in that. There's
A
power in
lot.
like just being, in not trying to
Being
impress.
flexible.
Flexible, yeah.
Flexible in your
Free to
mindset.
explore.
Free
There's,
and flexible, yes.
yeah, nothing to lose.
It's amazing. It's amazing
Yeah.
place to be in.
Yeah.
I can say that today I am more close to that place than ever in, and especially in my personal life, even more than the skating life. You know what I mean? Like I'm way more flexible. Even just in my ego, like I can play with a lot of ideas that I couldn't before.
Right.
Even just not being the greatest, or not being the prettiest, or not being the, I don't know, like the funniest, or the big shot, or someone that everybody pay attention to. Like imagine that I can go to the Winter Clash and be asked for taking photos and signing, and you know, like you have this certain sense that you are an important person here, and then I can go back home and be somewhere else when I'm not even, like, nobody even bothers to shake my hand.
Right.
And I really like this idea, actually.
Yeah.
I really
It's
like
healthy.
to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I'm
healthy
not.
because it's not like everywhere you go, people are like, oh, wow, look, there's Bobby. Got to get my
No.
photo. It almost puts it into perspective, kind of the absurdity of it. And it
Yeah.
keeps your ego in check. Because if it was happening
Exactly.
all the time, you'd probably have a huge head. And yeah.
Yes. It's a whole process that you go through in the time where you are like, when you start to blow up. You start to get the followers, you start to get the likes. Like at some point, maybe 3 years ago, and I'm not just saying this, I used to get like 50 messages a day, a
Wow.
fucking day. People like, saying nice, good stuff, sometimes bad stuff, but whatever. I used to get all the time messages, and it fucks with you, like you get
Yeah.
confused. It's a natural thing. It's a good thing it happened to me when I was 28 or 29 and not when I was 20 or 18, or I don't know what the fuck was going on at that time, but it fucks with you and it plays with you and it confuses you of of what do you think of yourself, what do people think of you, what is your real position. And it was a process of feeling important, and then having to understand that I'm not really important, and
Right.
kind of play with both the worlds until you kind of come to a place where you understand that it's just you and you eventually, and you need to feel good with yourself. And this
Yeah.
like what so-called clout will pass. It will pass naturally. Maybe I
Right.
will stay in the game, maybe I will have a company, maybe I will still be important in a way, but you cannot let it well, it's not about what you can or cannot do, because when it happens to you, you don't control it. You know what I'm saying? Like, your ego and your self-worth is building up upon what's happening,
Right.
and then you have to kind of destroy it and build it up again from a different place.
Right. A
And
more
I feel,
realistic place. Like if you
yes,
build it up upon, comments on Instagram or messages of people who don't really know you, they might just really like your skating, and you build yourself up to be this, very important figure. That shit can come crashing down really quickly because it's really
exactly.
not built upon like a solid
And
foundation.
it probably will crash as
Yeah,
well. And that's
it
the
will.
thing. And it happens, I think it's a natural process. It's a small time for us rollerbladers, because what we're talking about, a couple tens of thousands, right?
Right.
But imagine if you're a rock star, you're
Oh
like
man,
you're like super important, and
inflated. Yeah.
you get fucked up. And
Yeah.
when it crashes, and it normally crashes, and there's just you there, and you have to kind of find out who the fuck it is that you're living with. And it's a good thing I'm in recovery, and I'm going to like a psychologist, and I'm taking a lot of actions during my week, like on a weekly
Nice.
basis, almost a daily basis, not a daily but almost a daily basis, 4 times a week. I'm going somewhere for treatment, for understanding, for psychology, for talking, for letting things out, for figuring things out. And it's a good thing it happened during this time where I can be in contact with it and not lose myself.
Right.
And I never did lose myself too much, but I definitely felt, and I was almost a little bit aware of what's happening, and I was realizing that this kind of thing can make someone go mad. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah.
Even if it's such a small time scale. You know what I mean?
Have
Um,
you dealt with like depression, anxiety?
of course,
Yeah.
still do
Yeah.
occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It still catches me. Like, I'm not always happy. I'm not always thrilled to go skate. Some days I feel like I can barely handle my shit. Uh, yeah, things are happening in my life today as well. Like, it doesn't necessarily show through social media, and it's a sad thing, but it's also like, I don't know. I don't feel the need to share it through social media, not because I'm scared, or not because I want to be drawn as a super positive figure or anything like this. Really not. It's not about that. It just doesn't feel right, because I have my platforms to take it to, like the psychology, You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of like a house, like when you're like, you could be in a relationship, and if everything happens in the house all the time, it just becomes like a maze. That, you know what I mean? A maze is the right word, like when you cannot find the way out of it. But if the two persons take it somewhere elsewhere, to different platforms, and come back, it works better this way. And
Like outlets.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
what I'm doing as well with social media. If things happening in my life, very occasionally I would say something about it in story or whatever, like I'm not having the best day or whatever. I could write a little thing on it,
Yeah.
because I want people to know that it's not perfect.
Right.
I want people to know that being a pro skater, for one, is a fucking hard job. Like, okay, let's talk some numbers, right?
Yeah.
I post a lot, means I'm clipping a lot. I have to practice all the time. I sometimes I have like I literally have a job to do, meaning I need to, like, if I have a pro skate and I want to get the video, I need to get the video. It's not your fun and chill time with your homies. Oh, I got the clip. I have 1 month, motherfucker. It's time to get banger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it
And there's
happens this
pressure.
way.
There's pressure to make it good, and
Exactly. There's things happening. It's not only fun. Yeah, sure, it's what I want to do, but it takes something. And especially that I'm so active through social media, because I believe it's the way to do it at the moment. You know what I mean? I'm listening to what's happening around, and at least I try my best to do it. So you see all the time 1, 2, 3 clips in the park that I post almost weekly, sometimes even day to day, and I go out there and I get the clips. And sometimes I feel a little bit tired, and I start skating a bit, and I'm like, okay, let's get the clips, let's do the reel, let's do this, and I'm motivated to do it. But sometimes it's a bitch, sometimes it's hard, sometimes it takes the fun out of it. Sometimes it's not for everybody. I'm telling you right here and now, to be a pro skater, to be a very active pro skater, it's not for everybody. Maybe some people, and I don't know who to put, I cannot think of someone, but maybe some people really, really don't need to change much. Like maybe they are a pro skater somehow, and they provide not so many clips, so they don't feel that much pressure to be out there all the time or whatever. And they just, they get what they get when they get, and maybe they don't have a salary, or maybe they don't have this, I have like a amount of clips and amount of videos that I need to provide, and it's written down in the contract. So, I know what I need to do. And some of these things is not easy. It's a lot of work.
So do you have do you have a certain amount of clips that you need to post? Like, is that a part of your contract?
Not on my personal, but I need to provide. I need to provide to get extra money.
Okay.
So like I have a deal with Hedon. With Hedon is more like a flexible deal. Like, okay, you don't do it, you don't get any money. Actually, no, with Roces is the same. It's a flexible deal, but I need the money because the money is my food, right?
Right.
So like sometimes it's a very different game when you go get the clips, because you need to pay the rent.
Yeah, crazy.
It really changes things, sometimes in a good way, but you have to learn to be in a good relation with this thing. What you have to do, what you don't have to do, when you have to chill, when you have to let go, when it's time to work, when you cannot let go. Today you get the clips. Sometimes it's like this, like today you get 10 clips, motherfucker. I don't care how you feel, because you need to provide, because in a couple of days the timing for you to provide the clip for this month, which is let's say it's €100 to give them a Insta clip, for example. Sometimes it's more, but you know,
That's such a crazy concept that you would need to film yourself do tricks on rollerblades so that you can pay for your rent.
It's amazing, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy, amazing. Like, and especially when you tell it to someone outside, he's like, "This is what you're doing." It's my job.
Yeah. So you are a full-time pro skater. Do you have like a day job? Do you do any work on the side? No, it's just skating.
I do. I get some stuff and I sell some stuff for the community, like a little gypsy style shop. Wheels, bearings, someone wants skates, they can order from me. I get the skates for them. I get some commission for it. So it's a little extra money that I try to push, see where it takes me.
Like a bit of a retail, like online.
A little
retail.
bit, yeah, very small scale retail. To also for me to play with the idea. I'm not putting a lot of efforts for it because I don't have the mindset at the moment. I feel like I'm a pro right now and I need to be a pro. I'm not supposed to be a businessman at the moment. That's what I'm feeling. I feel like there will be time for it, and I hope that I will feel the fade in between the worlds. I definitely want to keep to stay in the blade game. You know, I don't want to just say, okay, thank you for the pro skates, I get a better job, see you later, right? I want to stay in the blade game, but I hope that I will feel the time where it fades good and naturally to the point where I can go and do a little more business. But for now,
so you're kind of dabbling right now in the business side and kind of see what speaks to you.
Yes, a lot. Actually, it's very important because I'm not good with everything. You know what I mean? I'm definitely not good with everything. And like one of the things I'm worse with is organization. But for example, I realized that one of the things I'm good with, aside from social media, which is a skill that I acquired while doing this, is also design and just ideas. Like I'm good at brainstorming ideas for the skate, for example. You know what I mean? I did it with Martina. And I did most of the skate. She came out with the red liner, which for her, I don't know the word, but like for to say a good word about her, the red liner was the bomb.
Yeah,
so
makes it
that was
dope.
That was the thing she pushed for sure. And we came about it together, and it's something that I enjoy doing. I did some clothes for XCCV. I even skate bought some. I heard they sell good. So you know, like I feel like there's things I'm better at, and there is if I would to do a company, I would definitely need people to do the stuff that I'm not good at. And
for sure, yeah, that's everybody would need people, you know, to outsource certain things. It's pretty rare to be good at everything, you know.
Exactly.
It's good to figure out what your strengths are, what you do best, and then surround yourself with people who do the other things well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And I realized, like I have ideas, and I love clothing, I love fashion, and I love brainstorming. I love checking in the internet for colorways, for stuff, what's cool, what's not. Like I'm researching a little bit about this stuff. Like, I'm probably not doing the best job in the world, but I'm doing something. You know what I mean?
That's smart.
And I feel more connected to it. I like to be aware, you know, like it's like, okay, you're going to get a pro skate. What do you want for colors? So like my first pro skate was maybe not that thoughtful as the next ones, where I realized, okay, I'm not just going to do a pro skate, let's check it out. Let's see what it can bring more to the table. Let's see how we can make it like really interesting and really, and the skate sold very quickly, very quickly. Like from the Roces warehouse, it sold in 24 hours.
Wow.
24 hours. And from what I heard, don't catch me on the word, but from what I heard, it could have sold it more.
I bet if it all sold out in 24 hours.
They did way less, like 3 times less than what it could have sold.
For sure.
And it was also out of the shops very fast. So it was like, it was a huge success in terms of sales. You know what I mean? And I'm not taking, like, there is other aspects at that moment. There was the Corona wave. There is other stuff. It's not only that this is the greatest skate or whatever, something like this. There was other.
It's a combination of a lot of factors, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
But it was definitely a sign that being more thoughtful and doing some research and coming up with nice ideas can definitely do something special, and also provide sales eventually.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
So did you get like a good cut of the sales revenue?
Not really.
No.
Because with Roces, we have a deal, different deal.
Yeah.
I get a salary.
Okay.
And I get royalties, small royalties for other skates too, for like team skates and stuff like this.
Yeah.
And there is different things that is happening. So like the focus is not like, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm still trying, and we're always talking, and we're trying to raise the amount of royalties we get regardless.
Yeah.
So this is like the truth, and it's still in the conversation, and it still didn't happen. But from pure money perspective, or from pure system perspective, the Roces system actually works better for me as a pro skater than a system that gives me, let's say, 40K, but once in who the fuck knows when,
right?
And who the fuck knows when is the next time. So you could imagine, and not to say anything bad about it, it's just two different systems that right now I feel like if I would tomorrow get a pro skate that will give me 40K, if you take away the last 3 years that I can do skating, that would kill my career probably, because I would have to work a job at that time. And this gave me the opportunity not to work a job. And eventually, it comes out to be almost the same money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Just spread out.
So, couple of years, yes.
It's true, yeah.
But I can count on this money. I can count on it right here and now. And so I would say that if John would eventually, and I think he wants to get to that point. I believe this is what he wants. But eventually, when he will be able to have a system where he can add a salary, then that will be perfect. Like a big cut from the skate that you get. And I see at them skates, they don't get the skate every year, sometimes not every 2 or 3.
Right.
Even I think Broska's skate was 2019, maybe 18.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years since then, and it's Brosco. So it's not so regularly. But then if there would be an added salary, then it will definitely look a lot more like the system that rollerblading needs right now.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I wish that Roces would, in the next couple of years, will raise the royalties, and that feels like a perfect system. It doesn't happen right now. They have their own thoughts and own ideas why it doesn't happen, and I have to accept it. Like it is what it is. Like
it seems to make sense. Like it gets a lot of publicity, and it's really glamorous when someone gets like a fat royalty from a skate. It's like, oh, look at this company, they're giving this much royalty on the pro skate. But it's a good point that they're not getting that pro skate every year.
And Danny Beer is not going to quit his job right now, right?
Right. So you
So he
might not get you might not get a big fat royalty on your pro skate, but if they've been paying a salary all these months, it's gonna equal about the same, if not more, in
Yes.
for the
For me,
accumulative of the accumulation of the salary. So it almost seems more sustainable to have a salary as opposed to that one big paycheck.
I agree.
So I'm not going to shit on that, not at all. It almost
No, it's a great idea. It's a great idea. It's just not perfected yet. It's a great idea, not to take anything from it. It's great. This is what it should be. You know what I mean? Like, if someone gets a pro skate, get a fat check. It's a good concept as is.
A little bonus.
But then it's time to realize how these people can skate for like a full-time job, and for that they need a steady income.
Right.
And I would say that Nils, like in these 3 years that we work with Roces, Nils is working 4 years. I'm pretty sure Nils already did more than this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he has a little bigger salary than I do, and I should be around the same soon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like thinking about it. When there will be an added salary to it, or some kind of different concept, maybe money per clips. I think it's a great thing. You make your pros work. They need to work. They need to provide clips. You know, this is their job. Their job is not to give high fives. It's part of it, but it's a small part of it.
Right.
Right now, social media is asking, you know, when you guys talk to John, I listened to it. It was very interesting, by the way. It was a great conversation. He said something about being visible, right?
Yeah.
And being visible is not only one way. There's many ways to be visible. One of the ways is, like you guys talked about, is the blading cup, is the competition, is outdoors. People come and go. It's, you know, one way is having a shop outside. One way is having a poster. Like a big poster. One way is paying in the Facebook or Instagram or YouTube for paid content, right? Where it goes all over the place. And what I think at the moment, one of the ways is through social media, because it's like a TV basically. It's like it's like a TV airtime, small time scale sometimes, unless you get reposted, but it's like an infinite amount of TV channels and infinite amount of people who, you know, participate in this TV and they consume it. And so stupid me. The phone is in front of me. I wanted to, but I'm just saying, in the last 3 months, I checked a couple of hours ago. In the last 3 months, I had a reach with my videos of 500,000 accounts, not views, accounts. Wow. That are not following me.
Wow.
That are not following me. Again, a reach of 500,000 accounts that are not following me. And I didn't have a specifically crazy viral video. And most of my videos didn't even include, for that matter, any flips. Okay, I posted a flip yesterday, but most of them didn't include any flips or some kind of crazy bail or something that is more likely to be
a viral
video, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't nothing like that. It was pure skating. Okay, you know, someone can say this is not skating, but you know, it was pretty much me doing tricks, relatively classic skating in the skate parks or the streets, grinds, gaps, spins, whatever, and it reached in the last 3 months only in my channel, again, only in my channel, we're not speaking other channels, 500,000 accounts that are not following me. So that's a big range. And when you understand this, we don't know how will it affect things, but if a lot of pros would pay more attention to what they could do through this platform and try their best to use it, and imagine this is just me. What about Niels?
Yeah.
What about Air Damon? What about Dimitrios, right?
Right.
They all, like, people who,
that is a lot of visibility. Yeah, when you break it down like that.
It's a lot of reach through social media. People see rollerblading more and more and more, and they get to see a pretty good side of it as well, right? Not only fails or someone falling on his balls and it's all funny in games. You know what I mean?
Like classic
skating.
Yeah. No, it's a good point.
And this is, I think, eventually, I think this is my job. You understand? This is my job. For me, of course, I promote Roces and they sell. Perfect. We understand the relationship, right? They don't pay me because I'm good. They don't, and they shouldn't. It's not about that. There is other aspects that you have to know. Like, you can be the greatest of all time, but if you're not lucky enough to have someone carrying your name out there, there is no need of a company in you. No matter how much they like you, no matter if it's a skater owned, like, you could come and tell me, oh, this is a skater owned, and we actually recognize that this guy is good in skating. Okay, but this guy is good in skating, but this guy is not good for skating. It's whole different things.
Right.
And I think for me, and I think for some other skaters, and I hope for everybody, I think that what should be the mindset of, like, skating comes first. Like, what is good for skating? As a pro skater, what is good for skating? Not what is good for me, not what is good, what is good for skating, and with like a mix and balance between what is good for skating, like, in general, and what can you bring, and what do you want to bring as well. Not, because we can all say that flipping in social media is good for skating visibility, and it's great that some people do it, but for me, for example, I don't necessarily want it. I don't necessarily want skating to be portrayed that way into the big mass. I actually want them to see the little maneuvers, the set slides, the spins, the control. I want them to see this stuff. And so it's like a mixture, but with the first thing in mind is what is good for skating, always. And when this is the priority, I think we will grow the fuck up. You know what I mean? And I mean, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Not being like selfish about it, but what's the best thing for rollerblading?
Because we always selfish.
But then also balancing it with, like, what do you genuinely want to do? Like, what brings you the most joy? So there is an element of selfishness, but it's balancing the two, right? It's like, what do I love doing, but what is good for the culture? What's good for rollerblading, and not just good for me?
Exactly. Sometimes you have to step out a little bit of that comfort zone. You know what I mean? You have to step out. So what do you think? I'm like the most out there guy that is like super easy being on social media and whatever, and talking or writing. So I'm not necessarily that guy all the time, but it's the exact balance. I'm not super that guy. I don't have a vlog at the moment. I don't feel comfortable with it. I'm not with the camera all day in my face or whatever talking. Which could be good for skating too. Some people say it's a great thing because people relate to the person more.
Yeah, and when it matches that person's personality, right? Like when it's natural, it works. but it's not for everyone. I'm not that type of person either. And if I tried to do it, it wouldn't come off very good. You gotta be true to who you are, right?
To a certain degree, but also step out of your comfort zone. It's like
Right.
a good
Right.
balance, but it's
Yeah,
important
totally.
balance. It's important to say that because it's very easy to be on your own coolness. I'm not, like, come on. Okay, let's be honest here for one second. One of the reasons that I am a pro skater today is because, and I say it all the time, and it's fine. I'm totally fine with it. I brought the Instagram video way of cutting and filming to rollerblading, not to the world, to rollerblading. Right? I took it from other sports and I said, or maybe I wasn't the first guy, but maybe I was the first one to be noticed, or maybe I was the first one to do it right or better, or maybe I was just lucky. Doesn't matter. I would technically brought the concept and put it to blading. And I think at least 2 years afterwards, if not free, if not till today, there were still people, and I'm talking about people who are like good or even pros, who are still like social media, Instagram, it's not so cool, TikTok, and it's okay, but come on, guys, like, come on, you know what I mean? Like, it's we're beyond that, and this
Right.
is the life at the moment. So it's very easy to be stuck in your ways and keep
Yeah.
doing the way you want to do it and be in the shadows and put. But let me tell you right here and now, I'm gonna say it as is. If not motherfuckers like me and other people who put all the work in social media, rollerblading dies.
Right.
It died not because of me, like person like Bobi Spassov keeps rollerblading alive, but it's many other people who
Everyone.
do it
Yeah.
as well. And yeah, we can say everybody together pushing the ship, but we have to understand that we're pushing this ship. It's not in the 90s, it pushed itself because it was a concept. So
Right.
rollerblading was a new concept, but it's not a new concept anymore. And someone needs to keep pushing that ship. You know what I mean? And if all the pros right now, right here now, tomorrow, we go down to the lab and start filming a fucking video for 2 years and not releasing any clips and being shy with social media and all of this shit, like, who's gonna carry the ship, motherfucker?
Right.
Who's gonna see rollerblading? You talk with John about visibility. When is it gonna be visible?
Right.
You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying. Like, we have to do it collectively. And of course, there's different ways. So Instagram is not the only way. The way I do it is not the only way. There is plenty other ways we can think of. Like,
But that's funny to break it down. And like, if you were to lose all of those Instagram people, that's a huge blow to the total volume of visibility
it's
of that like steady stream of visibility. Right.
It's also, how you see people like come and go out of skating. You know how there's people come in the skate park, they stay for 1 year. So there is also, it's like a big, I don't know how to explain, like there is something circling, and there is like holes in the bottom, and things fall in the hole, and only a few things really stuck.
Right.
And it's like
the filter.
it's endlessly spinning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we have to put more things in it. We have to put more and more and more, and we
Right.
do it through social media. We do it for competitions. We do it for maybe a fashion magazine like Dem Skates did, or maybe we do it through skate schools. One of the best, actually, one of the most, like, let's put it this way: if you put little sands and they always fall in the holes, like, skate schools will probably put the bigger rocks. You know what I mean? It's very close up and personal.
The more
people,
passionate, more engaged rocks.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, there's like different levels to this, right? Like there's just the level of attraction where you're just like maybe grabbing someone's interest, and then there's a level of like fostering that interest, right? Providing good places for them to skate, providing education, providing like skill development, things like that, that really build these big rocks, the rocks that aren't going anywhere, and maybe can create other rocks and things like that.
We also need to provide them a place to stay afterwards.
Right.
Because it's not only the spinning. This is the first part. The first part is this big spin, all the visibility, and people just go, they buy skate, or they take from someone, or they buy secondhand or whatever, and they come and some people get stuck. But if it keeps spinning enough, they're gonna fall in some hole if we don't have a good net to catch them. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like I can tell you, in Israel, plenty of kids that saw me through TikTok, because actually I did a couple of really good videos on TikTok with a lot of viral and especially visibility in Israel. And some kids bought skates, and maybe they're not in Tel Aviv or a big city where they have other people to skate with. The skate they bought, the money brought in, which is also good, but they didn't stay. They skated for half a year. They tried. They had no partners.
Right.
They
and examining why that happens. Why do people start skating and then lose interest? Is it because they got the wrong skates for them, or they didn't fit properly, or maybe they don't have a place to do it? There's all these factors,
exactly. And
that
how
we need
do
to
we
study.
how do we as an industry, as leaders, as influencers, as skaters, as any skater as well, any skater that will hear this podcast, and maybe he's not a pro skater, he's not even close, I don't know, he's just a beginner, but he's just maybe old enough or educated enough, or I don't know, he could actually listen and see through, and he could see what he could do in this situation and how he could approach maybe that new kid, even as a beginner. It doesn't have to be me who approaches that kid, even though I'm trying to be very approachable. Probably not always. Sometimes I'm focused in my skating, I come to shred, and sometimes I like it, like, okay, kids, don't talk to me, look how I skate. You know what I mean? Sometimes, but most of the times I try to be approachable and easygoing and whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not only us, the pros or the leaders or the influencers. It can be anyone in skating. And again, it comes back to the point where we put skating first.
Right.
Because even this is very easy for a guy to sit there and say, hey, you know what? I don't feel comfortable talking to that kid. I don't feel comfortable approaching it. It's
often that comfort thing. It's like, it's an excuse for sure. That's not me. I don't do that.
Sometimes it's okay, but sometimes you have to step out a little bit and think about blading as a whole, in all kinds of levels, from the pro, from the industry person, to the guy who just bought skates and listened to this and have some more awareness, and he likes skating and he thinks that skating should and want it to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's so true. It can be a little bit overwhelming, thinking about that big picture, because this is such a big world and there's so many different factors and variables to like who's going to get into skating and are they going to stick with it. It's like we need do you know worldometers.com?
No.
I think there's a website, and it's like it's just all statistics, and it shows you how many people there are in the world, how many people have died. There's all these changing numbers, right? I think it's Worldometers. We need something like that for skating, where it's like number of participants and it's this like ever-changing number.
Yeah.
It's like number of people who don't skate anymore, they stop skating, and it's a changing number, and number of skates sold this year. If we had something more statistic based like that, we could really start making scientific kind of decisions about like what do we need to do, where do we need to focus our efforts, because it's so overwhelming and we're just kind of like walking around in the dark, because I mean, you can look at locally in your town or whatever and see what's going on. But to try to think of this shit globally, like this is a big world, and there are so many. Like I just want to know how many rollerbladers there are in the whole world.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know either.
How many skates sold in the whole world? I mean, every company would have their number, you know, but it would just be so interesting to have like
We need
a
it.
database
Sure.
where you can look at all this shit
Sure. And
make decisions like how many minutes of skating are being viewed by people who don't rollerblade. I don't know. Some of these, obviously it's impossible to gather this data, but I don't know, just to give us a more clear sense of what we're dealing with.
I'm doing it with my own stuff.
Yeah.
This is the best I could do.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely it's something that should be out there more. Definitely. People should know, and especially the industry, they should know what the fuck is going on and what's pushing, what's working, what happened this year. Of course, it's in a global scale, it's maybe impossible to know everything, but it's also kind of relaxing to know that you cannot know everything and we cannot know everything at once.
No.
So we can just do our best at what we do and take that little part and know that we are contributing to the bigger picture in the little way that we can. You know what I mean?
Right.
But definitely numbers and figures, it's it's so important, and statistics, it's so important. And also for myself, I try to gather the statistics. Like I have a file here on the computer and I can tell you how many views I did this year for my channel, for Roces channel. I didn't check so much for reposts because I wasn't yet aware. Probably this year I will know better, because if I will be tagged in a repost, like a big scale repost, you know, like I had last year, not this year, last year I had a couple of good reposts of 1 million or 500,000 views that are not in the social media of me, XCCV, Hidden Skate, or Roces, where I know the numbers a little bit. But we're talking like millions of views through Instagram alone.
Crazy.
And it's good. It's good. It's real numbers. It's real numbers. You know what I mean? It's really happening. And
that's crazy, just from one person too.
Just exactly. You know what I'm saying? And this is a great, great, great reach. And I think that this is a very good time for rollerblading to use the platforms for once. If we could do something as a whole in the right time, because we always seem to come 5 or 6 steps afterwards, after everybody already came through and did it. One thing that I can say, that with the Instagram game and the TikTok game, we didn't come that late, you know. So there was people very first on TikTok, like Frankie. He did millions of views on TikTok, tens of millions of views, Frankie alone, through TikTok. And from what I heard, he also did some money on it. So, you know. So, yeah, he took a chance and he used it. If for once we can do it collectively, that would be nice. You know what I mean? So, all of these factors, I think in a couple of years' time, we will see that this social media and this hard-working time of some people who I hope will really bring, in a couple of years' time, I hope it will really bring a lot of fruits. All the collective work, the dam, the Roces, the USD, the razors, everybody, you know, like all of it, I if you ask me, I can criticize everybody this way or another, right? Because I'm passionate about it, because I'm thinking about it, not because I hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, hey, this is not this. They're not doing this right. They're not doing, and I'm probably wrong about some stuff too. Who the fuck am I? But it's still a conversation I have in my head. You know what I'm saying? But as a collective, I think we have more to learn, more to improve, but I think we're doing something right now. Something is happening the last couple of years.
Definitely.
I think social media is a big part of it. You know, we're connected as a community. You know what I mean?
Big time.
We know each other. We see each other. Yeah.
Well, Bobby, this has been great. We've done, I think, a
How
little
long?
over 2 hours.
Oh my God, what? What's the time? What's the time? Oh,
Yeah,
9:15.
11:15.
That was amazing. Yeah, I need to go skate actually. My friends are in the skate park. Yeah,
Nice.
really close by.
Yeah, that was super fun, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot for taking the time. And yeah, this was
Yeah,
really interesting.
we could have talked probably for 2 hours more easy without
Easy.
noticing. Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah. We'll have to do
Hopefully we
this
can do
again.
it again.
For sure. Well, all the best to you. It's so exciting to hear all the stuff that you're doing. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
it was awesome to sit
Thank,
down and chat with you, dude.
thank you. You too. You too,
Yeah.
for real.
Well,
All
enjoy the
right.
rest of your evening.
Yeah, I'm gonna go skate. We did the
Sweet.
skate talk. Now we need to do the skating.
For sure. Well, have fun.
Easy. Thank you.